Hey guys, Fazzy back here. It's finally time for episode 2 of our Toronto Warriors expansion franchise here on NHL 26. And a big episode here today as we are finishing the 2025-26 NHL season. In the first half, we actually did a lot better than I was expecting. And I'm honestly kind of disappointed at that, looking at that now. We went 19-20-3, 41 points. In this second half, our goal is to be the worst team possible. And that is because Gavin McKenna, going to be going number 1 overall this year coming up. We want to do everything we can to have the best odds at landing him. One thing I'm going to do is very much self-sabotaging this team, is messing around with the coaching staff. So we're going to go here and just fire one of the worst rated guys in the AHL. And then we're going to demote all the NHL coaches so that the lowest rated guy in the AHL is going to take over as our new NHL head coach. And this is just going to absolutely, hopefully in theory, tank our season. And you know, it is what it is. We have to do this to get results. He still does have an A for teaching. So, you know, our young guys should hopefully still be fine there. But hopefully this will really bring our record down. And hopefully it can help secure us that first overall pick. So let's just get this second half done. We're going to jump into a few games here for Slow Sim, but for the main goal is let's just get this second half done. And let's get to the off season here. Dermott on waivers, we do not need him. We beat the Chicago Blackhawks, lose to the Vegas Golden Knights, and also lose to the Detroit Red Wings. First game here in our team's history against the Atlanta Thrashers. Why not jump into it here? First period, 1-1, Grzelcyk and Niederreiter. Second period, 5-1 Atlanta. Okay, there you go. Things you like to see. Again, we're trying to lose games here the second half. We were a little bit, I don't want to say almost too good, but we very much overachieved in that first half for where this team should be in the direction that we want to take it in. Okay, so let's just go simulate up ahead. There's another Atlanta game in about a month's time. I'm fine with just doing, you know, a bunch of simulation this episode. Let's see where this team goes. Loss against the Calgary Flames. Leeson's out. Honestly, I don't really care that much. I probably shouldn't have gone best lines there. Should have probably just done assist player. Is what it is. We'll fix it in a sec here. Buffalo Sabres up next here. That is a 7-6 loss in overtime. Calgary Flames once again. Another loss in regulation. That is good. Jordan Harris goes down now too. Okay, so we have a little bit of a injury bug going around. Let's go and fix up those lines here quick. Shouldn't have probably gone best lines like I said, but it is what it is. Yeah, definitely don't want Brazeau on the first line. And I definitely don't want Bork on the fourth line. So make that quick swap. How else did we have this here? I don't even remember. Stenlund, was he on the fourth? Nestorenko, he can go to the third line. Defensively, Drysdale has to come up. I don't know why they keep putting him on the third pair when you start this franchise mode up. Oh, and Arthur Kaliev. You got to get him back into the lineup. So who comes out for him? Oh, it's probably Nestorenko. Yeah, he only has like 5 assists this year. He has not been great. Arthur Kaliev. Let's get him back in there. Scratch player. And then we can honestly probably move him back up over Holmberg. Goaltending, we'll give Varlamov, you know, a good chunk of games here. You know, he hasn't been amazing this year, so I'm fine with playing him, you know, a little bit more heavily in the second half. Don't really want to absolutely destroy Hofer here, so just continue on here with the sim at 21, 27, and 4 now. Just getting further and further below 500, which I think we probably would have ended up happening to us anyway, but at least this way we can control it and hopefully even go down a little bit further, if anything. So lost there in regulation against the St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets. That is now, what, 4 regulation losses in a row. Can we make it 5 against Chicago? We do not. We actually win that game there 5-2. Beat the Vegas Golden Knights 2-1 in regulation as well. 2 wins in a row, sitting at 23-29 as Lucas Reichel goes down against replaced player for now. We will fix it out, or we'll fix it later, just about a month out from the NHL trade deadline. Second game here of the season against the Atlanta Thrashers. May as well jump into it here. Play them again in about a week's time. First period here, 0-0. Second period, 1-0 Atlanta. Eric Robertson gets the Thrashers on the board. In the third, we end up taking it. Stenlund and Henry Thrun. 2 goals from us as we win at 2-1. Okay, I'm kind of interested. Where are we overall when it comes to league standings? I don't really care, at least right now, about the individual players, how they're doing. How are we doing in the league? So obviously the second half has not been great for us, which is exactly the plan, but where does that put us? So the Flames, 37 points. That's going to be hard to match. The Thrashers, we are in, the bottom, 8 or so. All the expansion teams are down there as well. It's almost not good enough. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to catch Calgary with 37 points. That's tough. They're really struggling for whatever reason. Let's just get it to the trade deadline. Let's see where we're at, and then we're going to make a bunch of trades and, just continue to deconstruct this roster. So the Avalanche beat us there 6-2 in regulation. Up next against the Predators, we win that one 4-3 as well. Another game versus Atlanta, third time this year. It's a 3-0 shutout loss. Back-to-back games against the Kings. We win the first one. Huska gets fired there. Second one, we lose. So we split the series with the LA Kings, taking 2 out of the possible 4 points. Another back-to-back here against Nashville and Utah. Is Dylan McIlrath on waivers? Honestly, maybe we take him just because we're going to be trading a bunch of guys and we're going to need someone to play for us. So we'll throw him down there in the AHL. It's fine. Lose back-to-back games against the Predators and the Mammoth. As Lukas Reichel is back. So we'll just send down Dylan McIlrath now. And we'll have him in the AHL for when we need him. Okay, so that's good. Another back-to-back here against the Florida Panthers and the Vegas Golden Knights. Loss against the Panthers, loss against the Golden Knights. That's, 5 in a row now? Yeah, 5 in a row. Sitting 26, 39, and 4. Another loss versus the Kraken. And another loss against the Ducks. Okay, so I think that went almost a little bit better for us. So we are a day out from the trade deadline. Where does that put us now in league standings? Sorting by points, the Flames are still the worst, but we're gaining ground on them. 56 points to 49. So it's going to be a very interesting, last couple months here as we head toward the end of the season. So let's go and view contracts. What are we doing? What's our plan here? All expiring. So Matt Grzelcyk, gone for sure. He's a rental for someone. Jamie Drysdale, they still want a crazy amount of money yet. Like 10 million. Get out of here. Bork, we're obviously keeping. Stenlund, what is he looking for? I think either way just makes more sense to trade him. He's an asset available. Jacob Bernard Docker, not keeping you at that price. He's an RFA. We can deal with that later. Robbie Fabry is going to get moved. Jordan Harris, why does he want 1.7? Zach Jones wants 1.8. Yeah, those guys are probably gone. Arthur Kaliev, he actually is very reasonable. We'll make him that offer and he signs it right away. Brett Leeson, another guy we could probably move on from. Even maybe Lukas Reichel. Again, anyone that we can get some assets for, it doesn't really matter that much to me, at least at this, stage in the franchise. The run who's played good is asking for over $2 million. Come on. Okay, so we're going to be making a lot of moves here. A lot of probably smaller moves, but we're going to, definitely get some good draft capital. And let's just see what we can do. Enter the trade deadline. And let's start tearing this team apart. So Rasmus Andersson, top player available here on the block. Let's just go to find trade and let's just go and start messing around and seeing what some of these offers are out here from other teams. So our biggest probably chip available here, Matt Grzelcyk. What is out there? So a second and a third from Boston. That's not bad. 2 seconds from Carolina. Ooh, Bradley Nadeau there too. Interesting. So people really want Matt Grzelcyk. Very interesting. Hage there from Montreal. Sarkowski, Malcolm Spence. So apparently he actually has some value. Sam O'Reilly in Tampa. Trevor Conley. Brad Lambert. Lambert's an interesting to me. Barlow too. Brad Lambert. That could be a deal that makes some sense for both teams. I think a guy like Nadeau, I think he'd almost have more value than what Grzelcyk is worth. If we're looking at this realistically. Matt Grzelcyk. Jets are looking for a guy that is, going to play probably bottom pair minutes for them. He's been awful defensively, but he still put some points for you. He's put up 30 points for us. There's still some value there. Lambert is a guy who at this point he's been stuck in the AHL. He's 22. He's not going anywhere in Winnipeg. Getting a third rounder on top of that. Can we even like, you know, throw on like a sixth, make that a little bit better? Trade is rejected. Even just a seventh. Like, I think this deal makes more sense in terms of value than some of the other prospects, even though the other prospects would be better. So we'll do it just for Lambert and a third. Okay, so there's the first man off this roster. Robby Fabbri, is there any value here for you? There is. Already a third round pick? It's actually a lot better than what I was expecting. Robby Fabbri. So some pretty good prospects here as well. Huh, interesting. What's the best? Honestly, like a third and a fifth from Tampa doesn't seem too bad. Again, I kind of just want the draft capital right now. Fabbri has actually been doing really good for us. Plus minus not so much, but 34 points. That's been a pretty good depth signing for us. Send him off to Tampa. They're obviously going to be competing for Stanley Cup, so let's send him off there and get some draft capital back. Whitecloud I'm keeping. Mercer, Bork. They're staying at Stenlund. He was the next guy we wanted to ship off. What kind of value can we get for Kevin Stenlund? A good bottom six guy, good defensively, good in the draw, I believe. Not a ton of value though, unfortunately. Fourth and a seventh, or, you know, like a high top 9 prospect. Again, I probably lean more toward the draft picks. Let's see, Seattle. Fourth and a seventh from Seattle. I believe it's next year, so it's 2026. Yeah, that's fine. Stenlund, he's put up 26 points. Put up 28 last year in Utah. Faceoffs, yeah, he's doing pretty good in the draw. I'm actually surprised we couldn't get a better offer for him. But let's just get some value back for a guy who's not going to be re-signing with this team. You are now off to Seattle. Trade accepted. Okay, is there anything else we really want to shake up here? Let's just sort this by years remaining. So who is a pending free agent that we want to maybe take a look at? Like a Zach Jones, Jordan Harris. Let's start with Jones. We actually can get something for him. Get like a fifth? That's not bad. Again, these guys are so replaceable. Let's take a fifth from Minnesota. Done deal. We're calling up Jack Thompson. Now you see why I claimed a guy like Dylan McIlrath, because we're going to have some bodies to play for us here. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck with 40 overall players. So, okay, let's resort this by years. It's kind of glitched out. Jacob Bernard Docker. I don't know. Harris. Again, is there anything for guys like this? Can we get a similar return to Jones? And yeah, it looks pretty similar. Get like a fifth as well. Fifth from Carolina. Fifth from Dallas. Fifth from LA. Yeah, so it's again very similar offers to what we were seeing. Just pick a team. Let's go for the New York Rangers. So Harris is off to New York for a fifth. Is there anything else here we want to do? So just sorting by overall now. All these guys I kind of want to hang on to. Bernard Docker. Again, it's probably fine. Leeson. He was a guy that we wanted to maybe ship out. A seventh or like a bottom 6 prospect. That to me isn't really worth it. I'd rather keep him on the roster if we're only getting like a 7th back. Is there anyone else here we want to move on from? Anybody else? Even maybe like Lucas Reichel, there's a little bit of value. I wouldn't mind hanging on to him. He's still young. Joseph and Miramano, that's actually a good deal. That's a move you make if you're more of a buyer at that point, obviously. We're not even close to being so. I probably am leaning toward hanging on to Reichel. It's a deal that we can definitely make, you know, in the off season if we kind of want to shake something up. We'll take obviously a look at all of his stats at the end of the season, kind of probably make a decision, but I'm not really blown away by any offer there. I think that's going to probably be all that we do here at the deadline. A lot of smaller moves, but we increase our draft capital and we give ourselves a better chance at hopefully landing the first overall pick. So I'm just going to sit this out and wait till the end of the deadline. I will come back to you guys once we are at noon. Alright, so the NHL trade deadline is now over. Some pretty big moves, like Braden Shen there going from the Blues to the Canadiens. Obviously a ton of moves from us here, at least toward the start of the day. But I would say, you know, pretty active trade deadline here around the NHL. The expansion teams are definitely getting involved too, which was nice to see. So there you go. Let's go take a look at our roster here. Our new look Toronto Warriors. It's pretty rough, unfortunately, but, you know, again, it's kind of the goal. Brad Lambert slots in at our second line center. He's going to get all the chance in the world. Outside of that, nothing super crazy on the forwards. Defensively, Drysdale moves up. Corson Kuhlman's Columbus first round pick a couple years ago hasn't really worked out. 74 overall, but he's going to get a chance. Jack Thompson also gets called up. He's going to, get a chance there. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to give Varlamov probably a pretty heavy load of the starts here toward the end of the season, as, probably good for the veteran guy to take that instead of, the younger guy that maybe will be around a bit longer. So let's just sim. Let's get this second half done. We'll probably jump into the game against Quebec, but really, we just want to see the draft lottery results in this video. That's more or less the main goal. So loss against San Jose. We shut out the Senators 1-0, okay? Back-to-back here coming up against the Oilers and Predators as we lose Varlamov. Okay, so guess he won't be starting a lot of games down the stretch for us after all. All right, is what it is. Tarasov, he is coming up to the NHL, and he'll be probably backing up for most of the season. I don't know. Maybe we'll give him a stretch toward the end, fix the AHL lines, and we're good to continue on. So yeah, back-to-back here against Edmonton and Nashville. First game there against the Oilers is a 4-1 loss. Predators, that's an 8-2 loss. Okay, absolutely destroyed. Another game against Chicago. We beat them again. We always beat Chicago for whatever reason. Loss against Colorado 2-1. The Vegas Golden Knights, we beat them again by a score of 4-3. Chicago and Vegas, we've been beating them both all year round, and they're both our right teams. It's weird. I don't know. Houston up next, one of our expansion players here. We beat them 3-2. I don't like that. So they're a team we're kind of competing with to be at the bottom of the league. The Ottawa Senators up next. That's a 2-1 loss in the shootout before we come to the Quebec Nordiques. So before we jump into this game here in Quebec, I'm just going to switch out the goalies. Tarasov, honestly, just get the rest of the season. He's the lower overall rated guy. We've actually been winning a few games of late, so we don't want to do that a ton here toward the end of the year. First period here, Quebec goes up 2-0 at Drury and Pajot. Second period, 3-3. Reichel, Bork, and Kaliev tie it up for us, but in the third, we fall by a score of 5-4. So that's kind of what you want from, this team at this point. We're scoring goals, but we're just not winning the game. Guys are putting up some production, but it just isn't equating to wins, which is, again, totally fine. All right, so 2 weeks left here in the NHL season. 2 games versus Montreal, a game versus Colorado, and a game versus Vancouver left on the schedule. First off, against Montreal, that is a 3-1 loss. Colorado up next, that is a 6-2 loss in regulation. Vancouver Canucks are up next. That is going to be a 8-1 loss. And the last game of the season here, Montreal, we have too many skaters. I'll just send down a guy like Klapka. Not playing for us. Scratch player is not going to get claimed. And last game against Montreal is a 3-0 shutout. We finished the season with a record of 30, 49, and 5. Let's just get to the season's over. Everyone has played all 84 games. Oh man, where does that put us in the league? Did we actually do enough to finish last? Please, please, please somehow make that happen. So in the Atlantic, we did finish last in the Atlantic. That's a good sign. 65 points. We were just behind the Nordiques and the Thrashers. Both teams, again, expansion franchises with us, not doing too great. But here's the big moment. Who finished last? And it was the Toronto Warriors. Let's go. Just barely finishing behind the Calgary Flames. 65 points we got. 69 from Calgary. All the expansion franchises are toward the bottom of the league, just with Calgary being mixed in. Take a look at these individual point scoring leaders now. So Kotkaniemi, 60 points, did fantastic. Mercer did really good. Bork did good. Even Turcotte did all right. It does, again, drop off really fast outside of that. Lambert, ooh, he struggled. Minus 14 games. That's tough. The defense, Drysdale did pretty good. 34 points, only a minus 14 on this team's not bad. And then the goaltending. It definitely fell off for Hofer, and Varlamov's stats actually came around a little bit. It was a tough year for the goaltending, as expected. There's a first look at our playoff tree. I'm going to go simulate the playoffs here off screen, and I will come back to you guys when we have a Stanley Cup winner and then we will simulate the draft lottery. So the Tampa Bay Lightning get it done. They beat the Minnesota Wild in 6 games to win the Stanley Cup. Oh man, I wish that would happen in real life, but unfortunately at this point, I think we may be cooked. Taking a look at some of these individual trophy winners, is there anything here for us? I very much doubt it, unless it's the Masterton Trophy. Matt Grzelcyk wins it as a Winnipeg Jet. Obviously was with us for, you know, a pretty big chunk of the season. That's actually pretty funny. So we would have had a trophy winner, but unfortunately did not work. So let's go and simulate up to the draft. And the draft lottery results, the Toronto Warriors have won the draft lottery. Let's go. Gavin McKenna is joining our franchise. That is huge. Okay, so that changes right there a lot of plans that I was, you know, kind of thinking of. I'm not saying we're going to be obviously competing next year, but we have to put a competitive team on the ice. We have to surround Gavin McKenna with at least, you know, a really good first line and hopefully, you know, a solid enough defensive core. Looking at the retired players here, nothing too crazy. Nick Backstrom, but obviously he's in Europe now. Milan Lucic, goaltending, there's nothing here as always in the first year. Man, I cannot believe we got the top pick. That's like crazy. Holy, I did not think that was going to happen. I was not expecting that even with top odds. So going to the NHL entry draft, Gavin McKenna crushing it on Medicine Hat. 71 games, 53 goals, 42 assists for 95 points. Very stacked draft class here. Honestly, maybe we try and make some moves. Maybe we move up. Maybe there's some options there. I don't know. We'll have to see. Nordmark there, I don't think he's elite. He is, I believe, medium top 6, but it's a very good first round here, and I would not be surprised to see a little bit of movement from us, but we'll have to see. I gotta say, I'm excited here myself for episode 3. I might have to go record this right away and start putting together the next season of your Toronto Warriors. But that is going to do it for this one. I will see you all in the next video.